The governor of Ogun State has signed a bill for law to provide for an approval method for the selection, appointment, and recognition of obas and chiefs in Ogun State and for other related matters. Governor Abeokuta, while signing the bill, said the state government would continue to promote, depend, cooperate, and collaborate with traditional rulers in ensuring that state government deepens development at the grassroots. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganiu reports.
The traditional institution is one of the closest and the oldest forms of administration at the grassroots. The signing of the bill for a law to provide an approval method for the selection, appointment, and recognition of obas and chiefs in Ogun State and for other related matters by Governor Dapo Abiodun had the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Oluwashina Ogungbade, Awujale and Paramount of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona, Akarigbo and Paramount of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, as well as Olu of Ilaro and Paramount of Yewaland, Oba Kehinde Olugbele, among other state executive members and legislators in attendance. Governor Abiodun noted that the law would determine how traditional rulers' rights should be done after their passage and would also give their family right to be part of the burial process and other issues.
Law was promoted by Kabiyesi Awujale during his tenure as the chairman of the Ogun State Traditional Council. This law seeks to improve on previously existing Western region laws or where there had been ambiguity as it relates to how our Kabiyesis will be buried, the say that the families should have in how, our Kabiyesis are buried henceforth. So this law now empowers the families to determine how our Kabiyesis will be interned, will be buried. Of course, without prejudice to traditional rights that are meant to be performed by customary law.
It therefore promised that Ogun State government would continue to stand with the truth when it comes to laws that are in tandem with modern times and the socio-economic development of the state as industrial capital of this country. Earlier, the Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, and Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Oluwashina Ogungbade, explained that the bill passed through one of the best processes.
This law seeks to modernize what we inherited from the Western region law and put it in tandem with the modern day reality and the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended.
The paramount rulers commend Governor Abiodun for this step.
This is an important bill. I think we are all grateful to His Excellency the Governor for making it happen.
This bill is taking up that the traditional institution has been associated with. We are speaking of light, speaking of darkness. That is what you have demonstrated to give.
It's commendable, it's wholesome. I've had calls, like we said, from other states, praising this state, that this is what they're trying to achieve, and they couldn't achieve, and hoping that this will be the platform for them to start their own.
The Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Afolabi Afuakbe, thanked the governor for this and promised that the ministry will continue to implement appropriately all policies and directives aimed at developing the state. Yusuf Ganiu, Ogtv News.
Ogun State would not tolerate any act of violence in schools, as any student caught in the act would be disciplined as the authorities deem fit. The State Commissioner for Education, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, said this while inspecting secondary schools in the state to ensure compliance with the introduction of signing of undertakings by parents and guardians on behalf of the wards. Ronke Adeyemi has more on the inspection.
After a week extension of resumption dates by the Ogun State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, schools in the state have resumed. Classes are, however, delayed as the ministry, in tackling all forms of violence in schools, made the signing of undertaking forms compulsory for parents and students alike. Although signing of these forms started a week ago, there was an extension to the process which informed why the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology and his team visited schools in Ijebu, Remo and Abeokuta axis. Schools visited include Abeokuta Grammar School, Lishabi Grammar School, Abeokuta, Ijebu Muslim College, Adeola Odutola College, Ijebu Ode, and Remo Secondary School, Shagamu, among others. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigwabu, emphasized that the forms will make parents be assertive of their roles on their children or wards.
The parents' signing undertaking is for them to get committed and give us assurance that they will cooperate with the school and government in ensuring that these our learners commit themselves to obeying the laid down rules and regulations in the school. Promise to abide by the laid down rules and regulations of the school, and that they will be well behaved, and that failure to do that, the school should take any disciplinary action that they feel will be necessary for that misbehavior.
Principals in all schools visited affirmed that the action is necessary to curb all forms of social vices by the students.
It will curb a lot of indiscipline, and I think it will put them on track. It's a good move towards having good educational environment.
Is to checkmate all these unwholesome behaviors, and this will in a way tell the parents that if as you have come to sign on behalf of your child, if that child commits any offense, apart from the child, you also will be held responsible.
Parents lauded the initiative.
If the children that we call the leaders of tomorrow are behaving like this, at these their tender ages, I think the tomorrow that we are talking about is at risk.
Given the issues, the challenging issues in our schools these days, we appreciate what the government is doing.
As violence continues to recur in schools in Nigeria, Ogun State government, alongside parents and guardians, are poised to take necessary steps to tackle these menace. Aderunke Adeyemi, Ogtv News.
And still on school resumption, parents have been urged to support the efforts of government at reforming the school system to guarantee the future of Ogun State by ensuring compliance with the filling of the undertaking form, which is a prerequisite before their children will be allowed in school. Special advisor to the state governor on vocational and technical education, Professor Joseph Odemuyiwa, stated this after monitoring schools in Ogun West Senatorial District on the first day of school resumption. Matthew Shoumi completes the report.
Fully aware of the huge task ahead in the complete transformation of the school system and creation of conducive environments for learning to help develop future leaders, Special Advisor to Ogun State Governor on Vocational and Technical Education, Professor Joseph Odemuyiwa, is out on the first day of school's resumption to monitor schools in Ogun West Senatorial District.
So those who have come, they've already signed theirs. So up to how many? What's the percentage? I think we have about just 30% that have signed. But they didn't go with form. So I'm just telling them that go and call with this form with your parents.
Yewa College in Ilaru was the first school visited in Yewa South local government where appreciable level of compliance by the students was recorded. The special advisor charged the principal of the school to ensure the directive of the government is carried out to the letter. Professor Demiwa then moved to Asakon Grammar School, Ibeshi, in Yewa North local government of the state, where the students were met in their classrooms engaging in academic exercise, while the principal promised that efforts are being made to ensure total compliance.
You can see that parents are coming in to collect the form so that they will allow their children and their wards to come into school. By the grace of God, we believe by tomorrow, Wednesday, there will be improvement because it's a new arrangement. So it's bound to crawl a bit.
The special advisor said the status of Ogun State in the education sector must not be jeopardized by negative tendencies in the sector and called on parents to approach the designated places to obtain the forms for their children not to be left behind in the commencement of full academic activities.
It's in the interest of both the parents, the children, and the government. We want a better community. It starts from the schools where we produce these young ones. All this that we are doing is to ensure that legalism, insecurity become things of the past.
The Tolu High School and Anglican Grammar School were also visited in Ilaru. Matthew Shomi, Ogtv News.
In the meantime, parents, guidance, and teachers have been urged to familiarize themselves with the policies of Ogun State government towards instilling discipline in school pupils for better society. Chairman, State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, Dr. Femi Majakudumi, made his call while embarking on monitoring visits to some primary schools on the resumption of activities for the second term of 2021-2022 academic session. Adebola Oshomiji reports.
As schools across Ogun State resume activities for the 2021-2022 second term academic calendar, the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, dispatched team to monitor some primary schools to ascertain the level of compliance by both teachers and pupils on disciplinary measures introduced in public schools. The board chairman, Dr. Femi Majekodumi, who led the team to some primary schools in Abeokuta North, Abeokuta South and Obafemi Owode local government areas of the state on the first day of resumption, tasked teachers to commence full academic activities, even as he charged parents to cooperate with the teachers in instilling discipline on pupils.
In SUBEB, we want to ensure that all that is necessary to be done is done, and that's why we come, especially on resumption day like this, to make sure everything is there. Class teachers coming as expected, the head teacher doing his work as expected, and our quality assurance officers going around to ensure that all that is expected of all this category of staff is well done, not just done, well done.
Teachers in schools visited said there was improvement in pupils' attendance on resumption, as they were also fully prepared for the term.
We are fully prepared because our notes are well written with the teaching aids, and our pupils are working right now. Well, welcome test. So we are going to do the welcome test today and tomorrow. So we will start the normal class by Wednesday.
The SUBEB boss commended staff and pupils of the schools visited for complying with the resumption timetable and called on pupils yet to resume for the term academic to do so without delay. Adebola Oshomuji, Ogtv News.
Now away from education. President Muhammadu Buhari will undertake a one-day official visit to Ogun State on Thursday, January 13, 2022, to commission landmark projects undertaken by the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun. In a statement by his special advisor, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the president will commission the 42-kilometer Shagamu Interchange Abeokuta Dual Carriageway, the new Kobakwe housing estate located on the Shagamu-Abeokuta interchange, and the first phase of King's Court Estate, Abeokuta, developed by the Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, OPIC. President Buhari, who will use the opportunity of his state visit to interact with some stakeholders, will return to Abuja the same day. Still ahead, Federal government inaugurates Inter-Ministerial Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation Television. More news and reports after this timeout. Join us again. Welcome back. The agro-cargo airport project embarked upon by the current administration in Ogun State will become operational in the last quarter of this year. Governor Dapo Abeokuta gave this assurance at the church service to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Abeokuta. He said, apart from this, the airport has also received the green light of support from other sectors of the Nigerian economy.
We have also begun the construction of our international agro-cargo airport in Ileshan, Ogun State. That airport will be the first of its kind in Nigeria. By the special grace of God, myself, yourselves, will be there the last quarter of this year to receive the first aircraft that will be landing right here in Ogun State, thereby putting our dear state on the map. Let me brag by saying that even Nigerian customs have approached us that they want to relocate their operations from Lagos to that airport.
Area of healthcare, Governor Abeokuta promised that more primary healthcare centers will be rehabilitated by middle of the year, while efforts will be stepped up as well in the provision of secondary healthcare facilities.
Only a few weeks ago, one of my friends from the private sector decided to support us in our collaboration with the private sector by donating 2.5 billion naira to the state to build a mother and child's hospital that we are going to build in OUTH.
Strengthening of the state security architecture, new road contracts in more local government, and more housing units across the state are also part of the plans of the state government in the new year, according to Governor Abeokuta. The Ogun State government has revealed that the current leap in the state's internally generated revenue IGR is attributable to its financial re-engineering policy of using information and communication technology ICT to block leakages. Governor Dapo Abeokuta made this known in Shagamu at the 10th year anniversary remembrance of Pa Abraham Adebola Daniel, father of the former governor of Ogun State, Otumba Gbenga Daniel. The governor disclosed that the state, with its 85 billion naira revenue as at the month of June, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, was the third in IGR generation in the country, saying this is achieved without placing unnecessary burden on taxpayers.
By the month of June, the National Bureau of Statistics came out with a statistic that showed Ogun State as the state with the highest improved IGR. The state in the country with the highest improved IGR. By June, our IGR had increased by 131.5% by June of last year. By November of last year, we have raked in about 85 billion naira in Nigeria. 85 billion. That is huge. This is unprecedented in the history of this country and this state. Our state has been number 3 last year. I'm sure by this year we will only be number 2 next to Lagos in Nigeria, by the grace of God.
Governor Abeokuta also promised that his administration would ensure the implementation of workable programs and policies by creating an enabling environment for investors to reap bountiful profit.
Everything. But I promise to do all that I promise. Everything I promise will be done. However, I do not promise to do everything.
He described the father of Otumba Gbenga Daniel as a committed and dedicated Christian who lived a fulfilled life by being kind and generous to people. An inter-ministerial committee has been inaugurated to come up with a framework for the Nigerian Science, Technology and Innovation Television following the granting of license by the NBC. The Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, who inaugurated the committee, is confident the science television will be a medium to be used to get Nigerians to appreciate the relevance of science, technology and innovation to nation building.
This event starts the work that will lead to the realization of the science, technology and innovation television station. The television programs will cover every aspect of our national life, including engineering, health and medicine, natural science, environment and wildlife, children's curiosity, science and society, agriculture, innovations, scientific heritage, and science policy.
The committee is to look closely at the concept of the Nigerian Science Television, find objectives and articulate the functions and mandate of the television station on the specific terms of reference in 6 weeks. Chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, the committee has, among other members, representatives of environment, agriculture and trade, as well as agencies like the NTA, NBC, NASER and NCC. Greece has donated about 1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Nigeria as the federal government moves to ensure more citizens are vaccinated against the disease. A delegation from the European country, led by its Minister of Foreign Affairs, Nicolas Dandays, announced the donation of the vaccines in Abuja on Monday. Dandays made the announcement at a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyama, and other Nigerian government officials. He said Nigeria and Greece have enjoyed a favorable bond over the years and that his country was even willing to expand the relationship. The Greek minister explained that such an expansion will culminate in the signing of memoranda of understanding and various issues affecting both countries. Oyama, on his part, said Nigeria has enjoyed a smooth partnership with Greece in the area of defense. He said the present administration was willing to expand its partnership with Greece, especially in the areas of agriculture and infrastructure. A new professional body, the Society for Nigerian Broadcasters, has been introduced to media practitioners in Ogun State. Introducing the body, the Executive Secretary of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BORN, Dr. Yemisi Bangbushi, told the members of staff of the Ogun State Television, Ogtv, to take full advantage of the opportunities provided by the society. Benga Adekoya was at the inaugural meeting of the society held at the Ogun State Television Complex in Abeokuta, and details are in this package.
Introducing the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters to staff of Ogtv, the Executive Secretary, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, Dr. Yemisi Bangbushi, who explained that the organization aims to improve professionalism as it is obtainable in other professions, saying that the body is committed to meeting the professional needs of its members through well-structured programs that would enhance ethical standards in the broadcast industry.
It is the professional body that regulates the practitioners of the broadcasting. You can ask questions. For more than 2 years of television in Nigeria, more than 100 years of radio in Nigeria, why is it that there is a professional body in this industry?
Former General Manager of the Ogun State Television, Ogtv, Abeokuta, Bashorun Festus Kehinde, urged members of staff to join the body so that the high standard that broadcasters are known for do not get eroded by unprofessionals. The acting general manager of the Ogun State Television, Ogtv, Abeokuta, Mr. Tunde Kasim, described it as a welcome development, urging members to queue in to the system.
There's nothing too much about it. So let's be part of it. Let's rally around ourselves, a professional body, and it's not new. It's new that it was, maybe you know, SMB was registered in 1994. That was the first time it was registered. But along the line, it did not fly. I thank God for our able Executive Secretary, Dr. Babushi, at the 75th meeting of Parliament in Kano. It was one of the talking points of that meeting that need for broadcasters to have the vote.
High point of the event was a question session by members of staff of the corporation who were curious to know how the executive intends to ensure that there's a recognizable standard in the broadcast industry by those who use the media. The event was rounded off with symbolic presentation of the form to the General Manager of the Ogun State Television, Abeokuta, Mr. Tunde Kasim.
A large crowd of young and old people thronged the residence of the Secretary to the Ogun State government in Oru, Ijebu North local government area of the state, to get their own portion of the piles of food items and other consumables made available by the SSG. Wife of the SSG, Mrs. Aderiola Talabi, who distributed lagers which included bags of rice and beef on behalf of her husband, said the gesture was intended to put smiles on the faces of the people as well as to give back to their roots. Mrs. Talabi said her husband has been reaching out to the people at regular intervals to ensure that those at the grassroots feel the impact of governance, especially to support them in the face of the economic challenges confronting the nation. Mrs. Abike Ajao and Mr. Alamutu Adetunji, who spoke on behalf of the beneficiaries, expressed their gratitude to the SSG and his wife for bringing the dividends of democracy closer to the people at the grassroots. The Chief Judge of Ogun State, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dipeolu, has led judges, magistrates, management and staff of the state judiciary before God in prayer, kickstarting a new session in the year 2022. Elizabeth Esson witnessed the ceremony held at the Ceremonial Court Judiciary Complex, Kawakwe, Abeokuta. Her report is presented in this package.
Judges, magistrate, management and staff of the Ogun State Judiciary at a prayer session committing all activities into the able hands of God for the year 2022. The prayer sessions, which were held simultaneously, had both the Christian and Muslim faithful of the state judiciary coming together to appreciate God for successful 2021 and praying to God to see them through 2022. In their sermons, the clerics enjoined them to be more committed in their duties this year, for them to enjoy the blessings God has for them, and also for the growth of the state judiciary.
If you want God's forgiveness, learn to forgive and show love.
In every areas of judicial in this day, in Jesus' name.
The Chief Judge of Ogun State, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dipeolu, while appreciating everyone for their support towards a successful 2021 in the judiciary, called for more dedication and unity among members of staff.
I have thanked you for working hard. Expect more work. When you are responsible, you get more responsibilities. Let's be diligent. Let's be loyal in whatever we do. It's not about what can the judiciary do for me. Let us change that system. Let it be what can I do for the judiciary.
Prayers were thereafter offered for Nigeria, Ogun State, the Honorable Chief Judge, Honorable Judges, Magistrates, Judicial Research Officers, and members of staff.
Egbaland has continued to witness peace on all sides as residents therein will not relent in raising altar of prayer for its good and that of Nigeria at large. This was made known by the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Dr. Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, at the Silver Jubilee of the Egba Day of Prayer. Our reporter, Margaret Okunlola, was present at the event with the theme, Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Her report.
It was an array of Christian faithful in an atmosphere of praise, worship and prayer at the Egba Day of Prayer, an annual event which is targeted at raising the altar of prayer for Egba land and Nigeria at large. In the gathering were Christian faithful from various denominations. As prayers were offered for Egba land, the current administration in the state, government functionaries, security agents and stakeholders in Egba land, Ogun State and Nigeria as a whole. The Alake and paramount ruler of Egba land, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, who was fully on the ground with chiefs and creme de la creme in the society for the hours of prayer, said the annual event has continued to fulfill its purpose as peace reigns in Egba land.
They started 25 years ago and we have been praying for peace ever since. Nigeria has been getting better, Egba land has been getting better, love has increased, togetherness has increased.
The secretary, Egba Day of Prayer, Elder Apostle Jacob Adeaga, also said all hands are on deck to propagate the gospel through the annual program.
We have been celebrating and we have been praying for Egba land, Ogun State and Nigeria, so that those of us living in this land, we have the fullest cause to glorify the holy name.
Reverend Oyewale Oyeniyi, in a sermon, charged all to continually pray for the good of the country.
And what we are saying is that if we trust in Him, if we believe in Him, God will arise and fight for His children, for believers in Christ, even despite the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria.
Ministrations by various gospel ministers and other presentations added glamour to the event. Margaret Okunlola, Ogtv News.
Up next is business news.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has begun investigation of 14.7 billion naira proceeds of privatization of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria, allegedly hidden in the commercial banks by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. The committee is acting on an audit query in the Auditor General for the Federation's annual report on non-compliance internal control, weaknesses, issues in ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2019. The acting Auditor General of the Federation, Aldo Force Agugu, has presented the report to the Clerk to the National Assembly, Ojo Amos, on September 15, 2021, while the Senate and House Committee on Public Accounts began investigations of the queries. The defunct government-owned National Electric Power Authority was privatized and renamed PHCN, which was later unbundled to become the present generation and distribution company. Nigerian crude oil's earnings were depleted by about 1.474 trillion naira between January and October 2021 due to various concerns at terminals that prevented the production of 50.788 million barrels of oil during the 10-month period. It was gathered that community interference, industrial actions by oil workers, COVID-19 outbreak at some terminals, pipeline vandalism, among others, curtailed oil production in various terminals, leading to huge financial losses for Nigeria. The scheme, as stakeholders urged the federal government to push for the deployment of latest technology in securing oil infrastructure, as well as try to avoid issues that would warrant industrial actions. The National Association of Nigerian Students in the Southwest Zone has condemned the federal government's plan to introduce 10 naira per litre tax on carbonated drinks The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, recently announced that the plan, while saying it was a move to discourage excessive consumption of sugar in beverages, which she said contributed to a number of health conditions, including diabetes and obesity. But the coordinator of NANS in Southwest, Olatunji Adewe, said in a statement that imposing tax on soft drink was not a way diabetes and other health-related ailments associated with consumption of sweetened beverage would be stopped. Adewe argued that the introduction of additional tax duty on the already taxed product showed the government was insensitive and was bereft of ideas to drive its internally generated revenue. For the first time in several months, the consumer goods industry outperformed the financial sector, dominating in volume terms at the end of last week's transaction on the equity sector of the Nigerian Exchange Limited. It led the activity chart with 1.255 billion shares valued at 51.9 billion naira in 2,581 deals, thus contributing 61.9% to the total equity turnover. Following the consumer sector, last week was the financial service industry with 537.9 million shares worth 4.6 billion naira in 8,015 deals. The ICT industry ranked third with a turnover of 76.906 million shares worth 704.3 million naira in 933 deals. The federal government has promised to use the 0.25% levy on profits before tax to fund the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. The funding the government said would be for research and development technology and innovation to transform the national economy. NASENI Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Professor Muhammad Aruna said the new Nigerian financial law would affirm 0.25% levy on commercial companies to fund NASENI R&D. Aruna said the National Assembly once more demonstrated through legislation its resolve to support all new socio-economic efforts in Nigeria based on continuous deployment and use of knowledge, research, science and technology innovation to positively turn around the nation's economy. And finally, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said it will launch a revised version of the 10-year Capital Markets Master Plan in 2022 to reflect the dynamism of the market and development in financial technology, among others. The Director General SEC, Mr. Lamido Yuguda, said in Abuja in a New Year message that the Commission would organize a capital markets conference where the launch would be done. He expressed confidence that the results of the various initiatives implemented will begin to gradually manifest, spurring developments in many aspects of the market. According to him, as the restrictions of COVID-19 and its variants are eased up, the market will witness renewed confidence, expected to introduce fresh investments from domestic and foreign investors. And that ends the business segment of the news. It is back to Iyabo.